We just won't do that.
It's a lot less abstract than some of the other Democratic talking points we've had. Like, so when we talk about January 6th or Trump upending the rule of law or not caring about norms, that's pretty abstract in people's day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
But the economy affects them every single day. And Trump is hardcore gaslighting about how the economy is doing. Like, he says that inflation is, he essentially said he killed inflation at one point, if there was no inflation.
But inflation was higher under President Biden.
What was inflation?
Core inflation was 3.2 in December, and it's 3.0 now. CPI went up 28%. Be quiet, I'm talking, buddy. CPI went up 21%. That means that under Joe...
So that is my friend and yours, Adam Mockler, Gen Z political commentator, Midas Touch contributor. He's killing it. He's back on CNN, and every time Adam goes on CNN, he gets even better, believe it or not. Like if like just when you think like, okay, he's clearly hit his peak, he's maxed out, he hit the ceiling, he just breaks through the ceiling, gets better and better. He is trolling and triggering MAGA commentators on CNN with just a series of brutal fact checks. And I'm so proud of him. I can't wait to dive into this with you. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. So, yeah, there was Adam triggering the shit, and you just see him laughing the whole time. Like, be quiet. And it's like, oh, gosh, that was uncalled for, mocking him. That's Joe Borelli, Republican lawmaker who is, one of CNN's regular Trump supporters, Trump defenders. And, of course, just before we dive into the next clip, of course it's true that Trump is trying to gaslight the American people with respect to inflation. The polls show it's not working. They're pissed off. They're blaming Trump for it. And he's in serious jeopardy of losing the 2026 midterms as a direct consequence. And so that's why Borelli's upset, because he just doesn't like to be fact-checked. And it gets worse because they talk about the economy and Marjorie Taylor Greene in further detail.
Like that was fine when she was supporting Trump, but now all of a sudden it's not?
It's like Marjorie Taylor Greene is realizing for the first time what it's like to be on the opposition side of Trump. She has clapped him on for years as he has over and over used the same vile rhetoric towards Democrats, towards other Republicans. But now she takes a principled stance for the first time and decides, I'm going to split with him on the Epstein files. And he goes scorched earth, calls her Marjorie Taylor Greene, unendorses her over and over.
Brown. He changed her.
It was so lazy too. He says because green grass turns brown. This guy's losing his juice. But the point is, Donald Trump has kicked so many people out of public life because they don't want to be the.
I don't know if you clocked this. I did. I remember when I saw this the first time, and I texted Adam, and I said, man, you're just killing it. You're getting better. Look at how Abby Phillip looks at Adam here. Like, that is just pure admiration. She probably doesn't want to give the game away, but she's like, God damn, this kid's got it. He's got that dog in him, as Adam would tell me. So Adam's cooking when the host, who tries to be as impartial as possible, is looking at him like, Dave, you're killing it, man.
Has kicked so many people out of public life because they don't want to be the subject of his ire. This is what Mike Pence has gone through. This is what Liz Cheney has gone through. This is what Alyssa Slotkin is going through right now. He calls Marjorie a traitor, says he wants to execute or hang Democrats.
That is what he does. I mean, again, Marjorie Taylor Greene, listen, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, I would rather have her in that congressional district than another MAGA Republican, which is extremely likely unless we are in a blue, not even blue wave, a blue tsunami situation. It's a fairly deep red district. So if you ask me, how do you feel about Greene's resignation? I'm like, well, if the choice is between her or somebody who will literally rubber stamp everything Trump does, I'd rather have Greene there, mucking things up, throwing grit in the gears for Trump. But it is true that she was a Johnny-come-lately to, the toxicity of political rhetoric. And it wasn't just that she tolerated Trump's terrible political rhetoric. She engaged in it herself. She referred to the Democratic Party as an evil party of groomers and pedophiles. Part of the reason why she and Trump were in lockstep is because they hated Democratic voters, Democratic constituents, liberals, progressives, et cetera, and so forth. She seems to have like, oh, shit, this is what I was doing to other people. And so she apologized on CNN. And again, Trump has no appetite for people who dissent to any extent.
Loose.
Can I hop in on the MAGA fracture really quickly? Because one point that I think you missed is that people like Nick Fuentes or this America First movement are now going to be hardcore lobbying to get Marjorie Taylor Greene on their side, which will only accelerate this MAGA divide between a more, anti-Israel, a more really populist movement versus now what's kind of becoming like the MAGA establishment, which is weird. So Nick Fuentes, he's a legitimate political operator. I know that he's like a hugely divisive dude online, but he is trying to make moves to gain leverage over the Republican Party. There is a very real chance that he capitalizes on this in such a way that Marjorie is then in his camp. I don't think that would be good for the current MAGA establishment.
So, Nick Fuentes, the leader of the Groypers, a wildly influential figure on the right, who was a prominent Trump supporter. I believe he was at January 6th. I don't think he participated in the, in the attack on the Capitol, but he was there, fomenting shit, has since become a Trump critic because he says, quite like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that Trump has not stayed true to America First MAGA principles. And of course, that is true because MAGA to Trump is a means to an end. It's a cult of personality. And so anything he purports to be a principle of the movement to get people into the cult, Trump betrays at the drop of a hat because he's kind of like, imagine a religious cult where you have the cultist and you're dealing with true believers who are the cultists, and you have the cult leader who's actually not really a believer. He just wants the attention. He just wants the power and attention. That's Trump, okay? Nick Fuentes and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who have a history of anti-Semitism, both, especially Fuentes, they're true believers in the MAGA movement. And so they have found enough independence from Trump. They're such firm believers in the MAGA movement as an idea that even though they have historically graded Trump on a curve, they are finally reaching their limits to the point that they will break from him, for Trump, that is. And so I would not be surprised if you see Fuentes and others, like Tucker Carlson, try to seize control of the MAGA movement from, say, a J.D. Vance.
She has made almost no impact for her constituents. She has been divisive for the sake of being divisive.
But that has never been a problem. Explain that to me.
She learns it from Trump.
But hold on. But
I've also never said that she's this great person.
But don't you think it's not that her voters have never been, if that is true, I think Democrats would argue that is true. Republicans historically have not said that about her. But if that is true, and her voters didn't really care until this moment, what does that say?
Look, what I was going to say is compare her to someone like Jim Jordan, who some people find abrasive. But his pugilistic style is to come with facts. He brings receipts, and maybe he rubs people the wrong way. But there's intention there, and there's a rationale. She just trolled people. She spent 4 years in the House of Representing troll people for no reason. So well,
she learned it from Trump.
Yeah,
Trump
You see Adam there, like he's looking at, and he's like, "I've got you," right? He is flabbergasted at the audacity of Joe Borelli here, and you can even see Joe's like, how the fuck am I going to try to meaningfully distinguish Marjorie Taylor Greene from Trump? Because again, these people have no principles. Hearing a MAGA cultist like Joe Borelli, hearing a Republican like Joe Borelli complain about Marjorie Taylor Greene's divisiveness while also sweeping from Trump, I'm sorry, like you have no principle, you have no consistency, you will always lose that debate because you can't condemn Marjorie Taylor Greene on principle without also condemning Trump. If you do condemn one and not the other, you're just unprincipled, objectively.
But there's intention there, and there's a rationale. She just trolled people. She spent 4 years in the House of Representing troll people for no reason. So
she learned it from Trump.
Yeah,
Trump posts AI videos of Obama being arrested. Trump posts videos of Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero. Trump says
what's so different that she decides?
Marjorie Taylor Greene's style is downstream from Trump's style. It's not unique in any way.
Trump does all those funny things with an objective.
They're not funny. The execution of Democrats is funny.
The sombrero thing, if I could put the sombrero on you, I think it's hysterical. Yeah,
Why?
I think it's funny.
What's
I think it's fun. I think he's
so
making
what's
fun
the
of his
difference
opponents.
between what she does and what Trump does?
Exactly, you're defending it.
I think she does it for no purpose and for no gain, and she has nothing to show for
What's
it.
his
All right,
purpose?
we're gonna hit.
And again, Adam there. What's his purpose and what's his gain? And Joe would not be able to point to anything. What was Trump posting the sombrero memes of Hakeem Jeffries? What purpose did that serve? What was actually accomplished? Because the polling for Trump on the shutdown is atrocious, even post-shutdown. He didn't win the shutdown. Even with Democrats capitulating, Trump still objectively lost because it damaged him far more than the Democrats, number one. Number two, it made healthcare, which is a home turf advantage for the Democrats, the most salient issue. Like, Trump got his ass kicked on the shutdown. What did it accomplish, you moron?
Yeah, Joe keeps trying to draw this distinction where Marjorie Taylor Greene is some character, but Trump isn't somehow. I just think that Marjorie Taylor Greene's style of divisive politics is directly downstream from how Donald Trump entered the political stage. He said that Obama wasn't born in America, Hillary should be locked up. His entire political rise was through divisiveness, and Marjorie hopped on that train and was very divisive, and she's now switching that now that she's the ire of the MAGA, or sorry, the subject of the MAGA ire, she's switching her position and saying that I can't take this. I mean, this is what so many Democrats have been through. So
what happened first?
What do you mean?
Did she switch her politics because she was the ire, or did she become the ire after she switched
That's
her
a good
politics?
point.
Well, I mean, I think she.
Yeah.
Well said, Adam. I mean, it just impeccably said. Again, you can't stand on principle and condemn what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say while also excusing Trump. It's just that is just cult behavior, textbook cult behavior.
As much as I disagree with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think this is more of an example of leadership than just going along with the flow of whatever Donald Trump wants. I think she's differentiating herself and she's trying to carve at least her own lane. And I think that it's at least respectful.
Yeah, again, like I'm not sanitizing, whitewashing. I'm not kind of like Adam here. Like it's a mixed bag for me. But again, if given the choice between a MAGA cultist and 100% lockstep of Trump versus Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's only 80%, 90% in lockstep with Trump, 95%, I'll take the 95 over the 100 every time. And so, again, I wish if the choice is whoever Trump is going to get to try to replace her versus her, I'd rather have her in there to just again throw gears or sand in the gears.
Back to my point, it's not a fracture of the MAGA movement. It's not a fracture of the Republican Party. When you cross the Republican Party, apparently there's no room for you, and she's realized that, and now she's sayonara.
What did she cross the Republican Party on mainly?
Look, I mean, she's attacked the president. She attacked the president.
On the Epstein files?
On the Epstein files, on the economy, and you know what?
I think she attacked the president because he was trying to stymie the release of the files that were going to expose.
Well, let's be clear. President Trump is the one who's actually delivering transparency that Biden could have done in 4 years and didn't do on the Epstein files. So to pretend like Donald Trump is like, oh my God, the Epstein files can never come out. He's done more than Joe Biden did in 4 years.
He's done more to embarrass himself. Remember that clip where he's like, are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Remember when he said that? This is a guy who just is running away from his past. I mean, he does not want to be transparent.
Well, thankfully he signed the bill, and we'll find out what's happening. But at the
after
same
he pried it out of his mouth.
It was the Republican Party who ran on releasing the Epstein file. It was the Republican Party who, with the exception of one dope,
it blew up in their face.
Voted unanimously, and the president signed the bill. So we're going to have that conversation's over until the files come out.
She attacked the president.
So again, it's so funny to watch Borelli, and I don't know who his Gen Z Republican compatriot is there. I think maybe Lyman, I think is her last name. I'm not sure who she is. But anyway, how they're trying to gaslight and move the goalposts in the Epstein files. What about Biden? Again, number one, there were still pending investigations into Ghislaine Maxwell prosecutions that would necessitate not releasing the Epstein files, number one. Number two, Joe Biden didn't campaign on releasing the Epstein files. Donald Trump did. Ergo, Donald Trump should be held to that standard, not Joe Biden. You lose. Number three, Donald Trump at any point could have snapped his fingers and released the Epstein files. He chose not to. The fact that he was ultimately forced into signing the Epstein file release because he lost. He tried and failed to stop this bill from getting to his desk, and he failed and he signed it into law. You don't get credit for that. You don't get credit for trying to do something terrible and failing and say, look, this person's a hero. No. Democrats are the heroes here, and along with 4 Republicans who co-signed the release of the Epstein files, and everybody else is the villain. This is a black and white issue. Democrats were right, Republicans were wrong, and that's why the polling on this is so atrocious for Trump. So she's objectively wrong, and she will always lose the debate.
Yeah, he has. But you saw Donald Trump essentially undermining the MAGA media ecosystem in real time. For the past few months, they've called Zohran Mamdani a jihadist, communist, a threat to America, who's incompatible with the governing style of America. You think he's incompatible with the governing style of America?
His values are fundamental. Trump is wrong on this case.
You think Trump is wrong on this case?
Well done, Adam. Well, you should be like, excuse me, miss, could you look into the camera when you say that Donald Trump is wrong? Is he stupid? Is he like? Why is he so easily manipulated by this communist jihadist who's incompatible with America? Well, why is your leader so stupid, miss? Why is your leader so easily manipulated? Why is literally every Democratic politician superior both intellectually and morally to Donald Trump? What is it about your cult leader that makes him so vulnerable to this? And it's just somebody. Do you support invoking the 25th Amendment, given that Donald Trump is obviously being suckered in by somebody you regard as a communist jihadist who's unprincipled and whose principles don't align with America? Like if I were Adam, I would have driven this point home. But I at least appreciate the fact that he got her to repeat that she thinks that Donald Trump is wrong.
Zohran Mamdani's principles are fundamentally hostile to the founding principles. His idea that we should confiscate property. John Locke, the founders, they were very clear that property rights.
Has he ever talked to Meryl? He's never said anything about.
John Locke was not a founder of this country. Yes, he is a philosopher whom many look to as far as inspiration, but John Locke was not a founder. And Zohran Mamdani is not campaigning or trying to enact a policy of confiscating property. And by the way, there were other founding principles of this nation, like the peaceful transfer of power and democracy rather than monarchy. And so I would hold Zohran Mamdani up to Trump all day and all night. And Mamdani is just objectively more American than Donald Trump, who does not believe in democracy and has tried to resist a peaceful transfer of power, which is the cornerstone of this country.
He said he wants to take luxury
two debates
condos.
that have interviewed him half a dozen times.
Then you would know that he said that.
There's no confiscation.
Hey,
then you would know that he said that. He said
Can I just say,
luxury condos should be taken if they're not in use?
This is a perfect example. The MAGA media ecosystem has made Zohran seem like this extreme jihadist. And listen, some of his ideas
the
are outside the
legislation
current
he supports in the council will force property owners, before they can sell it on the public market
It's called
to
right of
sell it.
first
Why didn't
refusal.
Trump confront him about that the other day? Why didn't Trump confront him about it? Why was Trump?
He said it was his honor.
Maybe he did.
Yeah.
But you know what Trump
honor.
said? Trump said that we both agree on increasing
On the
Yeah.
Bill House.
But again, look at Abby. Abby's looking at my boy going, Adam, you're so friggin' good. And she's twisting the knife here too. Like, oh, Adam's got a great point. You know, why didn't Trump confront it on it? As a matter of fact, this is what Trump said.
supply of housing, and
They're
that's
best
going
friends. They're BFFs.
I'll tell you why it hasn't.
Yeah.
So good. We got a couple more clips here, and then we'll wrap it up. Very proud of him. Okay, so then the topic turns back to the economy.
Ever been.
But it's
I'm
not
saying,
just about
because
that.
of regulations.
There are many other elements
It's not going
to
just
this.
double overnight.
When you walk
but
through the
that's really
grocery store,
problem.
bread is higher, beef is higher, everything
Eggs are
is
lower,
higher.
coffee's higher.
Well,
You can pick and choose.
How much have
anything you
eggs gone down over the past
You can
12
pick and
months?
choose
How much
anything
have a
you want.
dozen of eggs gone down?
Core inflation
It's 4
is
cents.
down.
4
is
cents
core
over the past
inflation
12
up
months.
or is core inflation down? Core inflation down.
unemployment up or
Fact.
down?
Period.
Is unemployment
End
up
of
or
story.
down?
Core inflation's down.
No. Wait. Okay.
Core inflation's down.
Inflation
Core inflation.
is
I'm saying core inflation.
okay. But
Cherry
the
picking is-
inflation
core inflation.
is at what 3.2% now. That is a
It's
trend.
3% now. It used to be 3.1.
But Joe, the trend since Trump came into office is that it has been ticking up, not ticking down. Trends.
Yes, trends matter. That is the trend. Yes, it was high under Biden because of post-COVID economic turmoil. It was high everywhere, right? For people to say, oh, it's all Biden's fault, then you would have to explain how every other advanced country on earth was dealing with post-COVID inflation. Biden was not the common denominator. COVID was, number one. Number two, it was trending down under Biden. It went from 9 to like 3% under Biden. And then when Trump got into office, that downward momentum stopped and started to reverse and tick upward. That's Trump's fault. That's Trump's terrible tariff policy at play. And so unlike Biden can't be objectively blamed for all of the inflation that he experienced. But Donald Trump can be objectively blamed for all of the inflation that Americans are currently experiencing because it's his tariff. One last clip here.
People at home were like, you can say all the hell you
My
want.
point is
but what
Trump is
this?
fighting the basic
Can I
issue
just
by
point out-
rolling back regulations.
Liberation Day tariffs only went into effect on August 7th due to Trump's 90-day delays, so we haven't seen the bulk of the effects, but I've seen the Republicans in the administration and on this panel cherry-pick certain economic data that's incongruent with the way the average American feels. A dozen eggs is down 4 cents over the past year. That doesn't outweigh unemployment being up, unemployment for young Americans my age being up, unemployment for black Americans is spiking. That's an early indicator of a weakening job market. People are
Black
struggling.
American women,
and you can't,
especially.
Yeah, you can't just gaslight about this.
So, listen, no notes. Every time Adam shows up on CNN, he gets subsequently better. And he started off great to begin with. Very proud of him and his success. You should definitely check out his channel if you have not already, which you are almost certainly subscribed to. He is killing it. He also contributes for Midas Touch as well. Well done, Adam. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.